Roll call, please.
Mayor Kavanaugh.
Here.
Councilmember Dickey. Here. Councilmember Yates.
Present.
Vice Mayor Hanson.
Here.
Councilmember Elke.
Here.
Councilmember Leger.
Here.
And Councilmember Brown.
Here.
All right. Consideration of Resolution 2013-43, declaring and adopting the results of the general special election held on November 5th, 2013. Ken?
Mayor Kavanaugh, members of the council, in accordance with Arizona Revised Statute 35454E states that the governing body shall hold a special meeting within 20 days after the canvass the votes to certify the results. You have those results in your packet. Staff would be happy to answer any questions that you might have with that. It is recommended that you approve Resolution 2013-45 or 43.
Okay. Motion to approve?
Mayor, I move to approve the resolution 2013-43 as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mayor 7-0.
All right. And can I get a motion to adjourn the special session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, and we'll go on to our regular session, and if everyone could stand, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And today, we're just going to have a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Kavanaugh.
Here.
Councilmember Dickey.
Here.
Councilmember Yates.
Present.
Vice Mayor Hanson.
Still here.
Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Elke.
Here.
Councilmember Leger.
Here.
Mayor's report. Okay. I spent 10 days in Azerbaijan on an official goodwill and fact-finding visit with my husband, State Representative John Kavanaugh. Azerbaijan is a small country of about 10 million residents north of Iran and south of Russia on the Caspian Sea. It was a wonderful trip to a wonderful country. Azerbaijan is a democratic, secular country with religious tolerance and freedom. It is also very safe, and Azerbaijan is an ally of the United States, its troops fighting alongside ours in Afghanistan. We spent some time in a rural city with a population about the same as Fountain Hills, where we ate in the mayor's home and enjoyed his hospitality. I learned that municipal problems are the same everywhere. We spent most of the time in the capital, Baku, seeing the sights and visiting government dignitaries and offices. I was especially impressed with their one-stop service centers for citizens, similar to ours at Town Hall. Azerbaijan is a modern, fast-developing country that is a role model for other countries in the Middle East. I look forward to developing the friendships that I made there. Second on our agenda is a proclamation. Proclamation proclaiming the week of November 28th through December 5th, 2013 as Chabad Week. Whereas Chabad Lubavitch is a worldwide movement under the leadership of one of the most revered spiritual leaders, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Schneerson, OBM. Chabad has for many years in the United States and throughout the world actively promoted a greater awareness of the concepts of education, morality, and decency amongst all people. And whereas Hanukkah commemorates the rededication of the Jewish temple by the Maccabees in 165 BC and is celebrated for 8 days beginning the 25th day of Kislev, corresponding to the 28th day of November 2013. And whereas Chabad of Fountain Hills is dedicated to personally contacting every Jewish household during this season, including visits to local hospitals, care homes, prisons, and public menorah kindling ceremonies in major shopping centers, and a Hanukkah mobile offering information, menorahs, candles, and gifts for the children. Now, therefore, I, Linda M. Kavanaugh, Mayor of the Town of Fountain Hills, Arizona, do hereby proclaim the week of November 28th through December 5th, 2013 as Chabad Week in the Town of Fountain Hills, to be utilized by educators, clergy, and civic leaders to emphasize and perpetuate education, morality, and brotherhood. And that's it. Okay. Public appearances are next. Okay, recognition of the citizens of the Saguaro Committee. At the last meeting, I thanked the committee. You weren't here, but I thanked you during my mayor's report. I was so pleased that the road bond passed that I wanted to give my thanks out to you right away. Some of you were at the breakfast this morning, and I publicly thanked you again for all the work you did to get the bond passed. But I'm glad that we can do it again with as many present as could make it today, and I know that some of the other council people would also like to express their thanks to you. Bob, you wanted to say something? Do you want to come up now?
First of all, I'd like to ask that the members of the committee that are present stand. I'm happy to report, have more than a quorum. This is
Right.
the group that worked very hard. A couple of them could not attend, but it was a joy to have this group involved. I just wanted to make a couple of brief remarks. You may be seated. Okay. I think there were four substantial reasons that this bond went so well. First, our best advertisement was the condition of the street. The citizens could drive it and they could know what was there. Secondly, I want to credit the council with and the town staff with the careful work you did to prepare for this. You had an excellent engineering report done. It gave us the ammunition we need to respond to the criticisms that occasionally we came across. And the care with which you constructed this measure did not render it possible to criticize it because people didn't know what the money was going to be spent for. So I want to thank you all for the work that you did in putting this together. Thirdly, I think one of the significant reasons was the excellent coverage that the Fountain Hills Times and to a somewhat lesser degree the Scottsdale Republic gave to this. There were several articles that highlighted the work that had been done by the council and the condition of the road and the careful consideration that went into the structuring of the measure. Specifically, I should have mentioned under point number 2, I heard several comments about how much they appreciated the fact that it was a 5-year payout on the bond, and that got a lot of favorable comment. And then lastly was the work of the committee. And this committee was a joy. Every single member of this committee contributed as much as they possibly could in terms of their time and their effort. It was truly a pleasure. As many of you know, originally the call went to Jerry Miles to establish this committee, and as I've said to Jerry, it was a pleasure being his front person for this committee, but everyone put in a lot of time and a lot of effort, and I very much appreciate the fact that the council is recognizing this. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else would like to say something? No? No? Oh, Tate?
Thank you.
Just thank you?
Certainly, Bob, and your committee, Jerry, I want to thank you for educating the residents, and on behalf of the residents, not the council, because everything that we do up here is for the residents and the people here in the town. Most of you live here in town as well, so you're doing it for yourselves as well. But I think what was most important is you get the education out there, and certainly people can differ, reasonable minds can differ, but make sure you get the facts. And your committee did a wonderful job getting the facts out there, getting the information, so people really saw that there was a need to get this done. Overwhelming support, 66% is fantastic. Thank you. 67% is fantastic.
67.
So are you rounding up? I thought it was 66 points. So.
67.15, but it was
All right, all right. Well, I think you did a wonderful job educating, and our residents and voters responded to that. So thank you very much for educating on behalf of the town and certainly on behalf of the council.
All right, so we'll have to have like a ribbon cutting, and you guys will all be there to cut the ribbon, right, when it's done? How about that? Okay. All right, going on to our next item, presentation of the town's comprehensive annual financial report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2013, by Dennis Osich, CPA, partner with Clifton Larson Allen LLP. Ken?
Again, you have Mr. Osich here to give the presentation of our annual audit.
All right. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council. I was asked to be brief, and I actually think it's going to be really easy to be brief. It was a very good audit this year. As part of our audit, we obviously audited the comprehensive annual financial report. And then we also, as part of that audit, we also audited the use of LTAF 2 monies, the use of highway user revenue funds, and then we also provided an opinion on the annual expenditure limitation report. I'm happy to report that we had a clean opinion on the annual expenditure limitation report, as well as the HERF and the LTAF 2 report. And then also on the comprehensive annual financial report, we issued an unmodified opinion. That's just new terminology. Previously, it was called an unqualified opinion. The new terminology is unmodified. So we issued an unmodified opinion, basically meaning that the financial statements were in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. As part of our audit, we also review the internal controls. So we don't give an opinion on internal controls, but if we do have any type of deficiencies, we would report those to management and or to council. To council, we would report material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. Material weaknesses would be items such that the internal controls are such that a material weakness could occur or a material weakness did occur and there was correcting adjustments necessary to correct those misstatements. A significant deficiency would be less severe than a material weakness, but things that we felt are important enough to bring to the attention of council. I am happy to report that we had no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies as part of the audit. So as I said, I'm going to make it brief, but I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that any of you may have.
Any questions? No? Okay.
Well, thank you. Well, before I go, I just want to thank Julie and also the council just for their support in conducting the audit as well. So thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, and thank you for coming out tonight.
Yep, absolutely.
Bev, do we have any speakers?
No, Mayor.
No. All right. Don't get any more. We have 3 items on the consent agenda tonight. Can I get a motion to accept them?
Mayor, so moved.
Okay, and a roll call on those, please.
Councilmember Yates.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Hanson. Aye. Councilmember Leger. Aye. Councilmember Dickey. Aye. Councilmember Elke. Aye. Councilmember Brown. Aye. And Mayor Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Mayor 7-0.
Our regular agenda items, consideration of a request by the Public Art Committee for a new project to designate a number of public locations throughout the community as photo opportunity locations.
Mayor Kavanaugh, members of the council, the Community Service Director has a report regarding this request.
Mayor Kavanaugh, members of the council, you see in front of you on your monitor, a letter of request from the Public Art Committee for a new project. This one would create a number of photo opportunities, up to 20 throughout the community on public properties, right-of-ways, parks, etc. The idea apparently came from displays that you would see perhaps in Disney if you visited there. The Public Art Committee is asking for your support, and they would look to staff to work out the actual individual locations of where these signs might be placed. In addition to that, they are willing to pay for the cost of those signs. The town would be responsible then for actually installing them. I do have also a copy of the photo and what that would look like. Each one would vary. Obviously, there'd be a description underneath that would show the area in detail that was to be photographed or recommended to be photographed. Mr. Miles, on behalf of the Public Art Committee, wanted to address the council briefly.
Sure. Okay, great. Mayor Miles, thank you for coming.
Thank you. I've said before, I don't come up with many original ideas, but I sure know how to steal somebody else's idea. And the idea of having these photo opportunities, I've seen them in Disneyland, Disney World, and I was reminded of them a few months ago when Jackie and I found ourselves at Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco, and several places they had signs very similar to this, where if you were standing where the sign was, you had a beautiful opportunity in front of you. And it occurred to Jackie and me that we've got a very photogenic town, and there are many places that would make marvelous places to shoot pictures. I would submit that the fountain may be the third or fourth most photographed thing in our state. It's at the Grand Canyon, Sedona, and you've got our fountain. Everybody comes to take pictures, but we want them to take more pictures. So what we want to do is put signs like these in a number of places. This would be 12 inches by 18 inches, 18 inches wide, 12 inches high. Not necessarily those colors, but of the same materials as some of the others we've done. We've been working with the Photo Club to select locations. Some places you might not think of, but the Lake Overlook Trail, you get up there at the top, and there are a couple of places that are just crying to have pictures taken. Our Descanso Gardens, 2 or 3 places, and of course many places in the park and around this. And what we want to do is identify places. I can't tell you now exactly where they'd be, but as I say, I would like to have the ability to work with staff to say we want to put a sign right here, and just see if we can continue to build up the attraction of this community. Part of these, of course, will focus on some of our pieces of public art, but more of them will focus on our mountains, on our lake, on all of the beautiful parts of our community. They'll all be on public property, and they will all be located at where staff puts it. So that's what we're asking for tonight, and I will probably have to go into an arm wrestling with staff as to how we pay for them, but the signs will cost us about $100 a piece, and we'll get them paid for one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Are you going to have maybe put it on the map for the art map, or are you going to have like another map that's going to show people, if they want to go to all the different locations?
Oh, absolutely. We want to map as much as everything. Point out the fact that we've got this Chinese Lantern Fiesta coming next January and February. And we want to give those people who come in to see that as many opportunities to see our community as possible. So I'd like to get as many of those up before then as possible and tell them where they are. And in addition, of course, be able to say, here's where our pieces of public art are. We want to show this town off. It's beautiful.
Great. Sounds great. Yes, go ahead.
Mayor Miles, thank you. Quick question, about how many are we starting out with, and then would this be a ongoing program?
Probably ongoing, but I'm shooting for, we have roughly suggestions, and I haven't gone out and cited each one, but suggestions of about 20 sites. Now, some of these are just sort of over here and look, see, but I want to go out there and maybe even put a little spray of paint or something on the ground where we can say, take a look and see where that is. There's just so many places. So yeah, I think it'd be an ongoing project, but I hope we get most of them up in the next 2 to 3 months.
Any other questions? Yes, Vice Mayor.
Jerry, you mentioned that these may not be the final colors. Have you talked about other possibilities or what they?
Well, most of our signs that we're using now are annealed aluminum with the black trim. And I think we'll probably find that that's going to be the most economic sign design. My computer just hit red when I opened it up. And I said, gee, that's nice. But no, I would imagine that it would probably be aluminum and black primarily.
Okay. I guess when I first looked at the colors, it was like, ooh, red, white, and blue. It looks like a campaign sign almost. It was just kind of...
No, I don't think you can assume that will be red, white, and blue.
Okay, thank you.
Else? Okay, go ahead.
Thanks, Mayor. Actually, I had a question for Mark, if that's okay, about
Sure, I
the
mean,
installation
oh.
and stuff like that. Happy to do that, huh? Thanks, Mark. So the installation part, does that, it's going to be in the ground with a stake? So we would be purchasing the stake and doing the installation and the maintenance? Is that the kind of responsibility that you see for the town?
Mayor Kavanaugh and Councilmember Dickey, yes. Probably what we're envisioning is one of those things that they would typically use for street signs, you know, the channel iron four-sided, and then vandal-proof bolts that go through it, similar to what we have on the kiosk for our trails.
Okay, then, and Mayor, so the $100, what would that be? Is that the whole sign, or is that for everything? Is that
That's
for
the
both?
estimate that we were given for just the sign itself.
Just for the sign itself.
Yeah.
Okay,
The,
so do you have any idea what
the
our-
posts are relatively inexpensive because you typically buy them in bulk. We can actually get them through the street department. I believe, if my memory serves me correct, they were like $6 a piece. They're relatively inexpensive.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. And maintenance is not really a big deal.
Not really an
It
issue.
doesn't seem to be. As far as this being an ongoing sort of a thing, but it sounds almost like you're going to be doing it in the next couple of months, like you said, do you see an opportunity for us to see, again, what you have in mind on where to put them, or are you comfortable making that decision, or are you comfortable having that decision made? One of the things that came to my mind was if something was close to somebody's home, or if you wanted a picture taken of some place where people didn't necessarily want people to gather. So I'm just trying to be as sensitive as I can to what this might, what might happen.
I would submit that, first of all, the requirement is that it be on public property, and that staff and the Public Art Committee are probably as sensitive to things like this as anybody else. Very happy to have that, but every time we say, well, let's put another sign there, I don't want to have to come back and say, is it okay if we put a sign here? So I'm hoping that you'll give staff the authority to proceed, trusting their good judgment.
Just one last thing. Do you think I would add a lot, or would you be open to having the seal of the town on the sign also?
Oh, I think that'd be marvelous.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Councilman Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. It certainly doesn't give me heartburn just giving you carte blanche as to where they would go. But before I would approve it, I would like to see the actual sign and see what it's actually going to look like. Just one finished sign, so we could truly see what we're bargaining for on our trails and our photo ops.
I can order one sign for you. Put it, photo op, Dennis Brown's office.
There you go. It's a mess.
All right. Do we have any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
No, we don't. Okay. No more discussion, then I would ask for a motion.
Mayor, so moved.
And then,
Can
Do
we,
you want to
the
say the motion?
request to council and the motion are two different things, so if you wouldn't mind.
I'll read it. Mayor, I move to approve the request of the Public Art Committee to erect photo opportunity locations and erect the signs to that effect.
all right, second, please.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
May I do have some. Councilmember Brown, do you want to add that caveat to it?
Would I amend that motion then?
Yes. I'd be happy to do it based on what you had said. I just want to make sure that we cover everything.
I can amend it, but then we'd have,
Withdraw it and redo it if you want.
I'll withdraw, and my new motion is to approve the request of the Public Art Committee to have photo opportunity locations and to erect signs to that effect pending approval of the
Design.
design of the sign.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on that? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mayor, 7-0.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mayor Riles. Consideration of Resolution 2013-56, authorizing the submission of a grant application to FEMA for the purchase of portable radios by the fire department and approving the acceptance and execution of any resulting grant agreement. Ken?
Mayor Kavanaugh, members of the council, again, there's a request to submit a grant for a FEMA Assistance to Firefighters grant, and I know Chief Roberts is here to give a presentation regarding the consideration for submittal of this grant application.
Thank you. Chief Roberts?
Mayor Kavanaugh and council, good evening. Our portable radios are operated in the VHF range currently, and that probably doesn't mean a lot to you, but it's a range that most fire departments have migrated away from in the valley. Rural Metro still operates on that, but the two radio systems are incompatible. Our mutual aid partners, Scottsdale and Rio Verde, both operate in the 800 megahertz, so we can't talk to them right now currently when we get inside a building, so our portable doesn't work. So with the considerable expense of portable radios, the Assistant to Firefighter grant is offering up about close to $290 million this year for fire departments. And this is one of the things that falls within the parameters of that grant. So we're requesting your authorization to go ahead and purchase new radios that have dual band capability that will talk on VHF, which will talk to our rural metro, as well as 800 megahertz that will talk to outside departments. The amount of the total package is $109,000, $196.21. That would be a 10% match. The town's match would be $10,000, $920. And our current portables are about 4 years away from the end of their service life as it is anyway. So we'd be looking to replace them probably I think it's in 16, 17 for the full amount. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Yes,
Madam
Councilor
Mayor?
Gates.
Is there any value of the old walkie-talkies that we can sell those?
I'd say there probably is some value to them, but being so close to the end of their service life, probably not a lot, but there might be some trade-in value.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Do we have any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
No, we don't.
Mayor,
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion.
All right, thank you.
Move to approve Resolution 2013-56, allowing the fire department to apply for grant funding to replace fire radios.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mayor, 7-0.
Okay, thank you, Chief Roberts.
Thank you.
Okay, items 6 and 7, we'll have one staff report. However, there will be two motions. And we'll start with Ken or Andrew, who wants to start. Number 6, consideration of resolution 2013-45, declaring as a public record that certain document filed with the town clerk and entitled the amendments to Chapter 3 of the Town Code dated November 21st, 2013.
Mayor Kavanaugh, the town attorney has
Yes, it's
discussion regarding this.
okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, as you know, whenever we come upon an area that we're going to amend in a chapter of the town code, we look to see if it makes sense at that time to take the whole chapter and give it a look, because most of our code provisions are about the same as they've been since 1989 when the code was adopted. So this was one of those sections that hadn't been touched a lot. There had been a little bit around the edges. And so what you see here is a sweeping Chapter 3 overhaul, and the main area that you're going to see a lot of changes are in the procurement area. We had some very simple procurement provisions that were in the original code adopted by the town. A lot of processes have evolved over time that just didn't have any real foundation in the code, so those are included in here. You have a number of processes that are required by state law, particularly with procurement of certain types of professionals, public works projects, and a number of other areas. Those are reflected in here. And then just putting in a basis for your limitations on Ken's signing authority. There is a change in that section from 20,000 to 30,000, so that's one of the things that's highlighted in your report, to try and catch a few more of those day-to-day things that pop up that maybe you all don't want to see on the council agenda all the time. But also really to set a framework for how we do things so that when we get to the point of having these big bid processes, there's already something there. This is a lot more comprehensive code than is currently there. It's intended to outline everything that could possibly be thought of in terms of procurement. If there's anything that we missed, I'd be surprised. It also has a companion set of administrative rules of the town manager that are things like how do you get a check request, and the things you wouldn't want to codify but are important as well. So it's a comprehensive overhaul of all of that. In addition to that, there are other provisions in Chapter 3 that relate to the town appointed positions and a number of other ones that are more cleanup than anything else. There's nothing really substantive that I recall in those areas. And then the emergency operations section at the end has a few touch-ups as well. But the main bulk of the changes is right in the middle in the procurement section. You'll see on the red line copy we provide for you, there's lots and lots of blue and red in there. And it's sometimes difficult to see, but at least now you know each and every change that was made. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions for Andrew? No? Yes?
Andrew, actually, it's legal and it's related to legal. Section 312, Town Attorney, just a question regarding the phraseology there. It says, it had previously said that the town attorney shall be appointed by and serve at the pleasure of the council and shall act as legal counsel and advisor of, previously, the council and other town officials. Now it's just council. What was contemplated, if you can, just for clarity, what other town officials was in that? Since we're removing them.
Madam Mayor, Councilmember Elke, that was my question, exactly what that meant. Because as a corporate entity, I represent the town, the entity. And the town, the entity, only can act officially by a quorum, a majority of a quorum of the council. So I had always questioned, what does that mean? I mean, clearly you work with the members of the staff on a day-to-day basis, but in getting direction, the 7 of you are the only ones that can do that. So I thought it was confusing and thought it would be better to just clarify as council that gives direction.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Do we have any speaker cards on this?
No, Mayor.
We don't. Okay.
Mayor, if I may, please. Question for the town attorney. Andrew, section 311I, it states, council to act through town manager except for the purpose of inquiry. The council and its members shall deal with administrative branch solely through the town manager, and neither the council nor any member thereof shall give orders to subordinate of the town manager, either publicly or privately. I certainly don't have an issue with the language. I certainly don't have an issue with that policy. But I've always wondered, is that driven and/or framed by state statute? I mean, what's the genesis of that statement? Because it's a pretty strong statement. What's the rationale, and are there any consequences for violation? And the reason I mention that is because oftentimes, and maybe other council members have experienced this, oftentimes you may be approached by a citizen that may have the understanding that simply because you're an elected official that you have the authority to direct a staff member to do X, Y, and Z, to, for example, fix a pothole or things of that nature. So could you just kind of help me with that, and at the same time, hopefully this is a message to the public in terms of what our decorum is with respect to all of this. Thank you.
Sure. Mayor, Councilmember Leger, the genesis of this, I'm guessing, and I haven't gone back to trace it all the way back, but I believe this was part of the original code. As you can see, it was the only changes this time around were to add words like town manager instead of just manager, and capitalize council, and a lot of Bev things in there that she wanted to make consistent throughout the rest of the code, which I, of course, support, because I fear for my life if I don't. But the text of this is not something directly from state statute. But the concept of it, it basically embodies the council manager form of government, which is allowed for in the state statutes, and is really the way that the statutes are set up. And all Arizona municipalities are council manager form of government. So it is a clear statement of what the roles are, but it doesn't have a counterpart in the statute. I couldn't say this is 274, it doesn't have that kind of direct tie, but it is precisely what council manager form of government is meant to do. The second half of your question is the part that probably will surprise most people, but the town code has 2 different kinds of violations. It has default violations, which are things that are not specifically defined with a penalty, and those that are. Most of the things that you've defined with a specific penalty are civil penalties and are, for lack of a better term, ratcheted down a little bit. But the code's default penalty is a misdemeanor. So violation of anything that doesn't have a specific penalty attached to it is a misdemeanor. So that's the second half of your question, which is the, oh, wow, really, is it a misdemeanor? Class 1 misdemeanor nonetheless. And that's the highest form.
Vice Mayor, do you have?
Oh, sure. Only two.
Only two. 2 pages
Little.
or 2?
Little, just little. We don't want to get mundane again, Bob. On page 8, new section F, under administrative duties for the town clerk. I just wondered, it said, in addition to those specified in this code, should state law be included in that? Because there are some things in state law, too. So I didn't know if...
It could certainly be added and be accurate. The clerk is one of 4 positions, I think, the state statute actually requires you to have. So and a slight add in there would be simple to do.
That was just one. And then on page 11, about section 324, political activity, and the whole section that was taken out about employees will remain free from any political activity, and then taking out that they can't participate. They have to be free from political activity in Fountain Hills municipal election. So that whole thing was coming out, and I just kind of wondered, or it just says while on duty. So then is that saying that if they're not on duty, they can go out and actively?
All right. Madam Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, we were attempting to try and bring the code back in line with decades of case law to actually make sure the employees didn't feel like their rights were infringed at all in terms of political activity, because if they're not doing it while they're on duty, they're certainly welcome to do whatever they want. It used to have provisions that said not in Fountain Hills elections. I frankly don't think those are enforceable, and we're trying to mirror up what we do in our personnel policy already to make sure that they don't have a different requirement in the town code than they have under the policy they all signed off on.
Okay, that was kind of significant, so I was just wondering where it came from. That's all.
That's all? Okay. Anyone else? All right. Any speaker cards? Did I ask
No,
you
Mayor.
that? No. Okay. Then I would like a motion.
I can make a motion, Mayor.
Uh-huh.
Move to approve Resolution 2013-45, declaring as a public record that certain documents filed with the town clerk and entitled the amendments to Chapter 3 of the Town Code dated November 21st, 2013.
Second, please. Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mayor, 7-0.
Okay, consideration of ordinance 13-04, adopting the amendments to Chapter 3 of the Town Code dated November 21st, 2013 by reference, and replacing the Town of Fountain Hills Town Code Chapter 3 administration with the November 21st, 2013
So moved.
amendments. Any speaker cards on that?
No, Mayor.
Any further discussion? I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mayor, 7-0.
All right, Ken, do you have anything else for us?
Nothing, Mayor.
Okay, then. Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
Second?
and all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for everyone who came out today.
35 minutes.